Hey, what is going on, you guys? AK40 Kevin here in the Gamer Heaven, and today we are going to be doing a re-review or updated review of the Razer Wolverine Ultimate Edition for Xbox One and PC. I did this review about a year ago, got a ton of views, ton of comments, ton of likes, and most importantly, just a ton of people curious to find out more information about it. There were some key features and specifications that I was not aware of at the time of the review. I know them well now. So that's going to be included in this review. Not to mention my opinion of this has changed as Razer as a company, as well as some of the features of the controller that I kind of think are sort of gimmicky, and some other ones that I think are really useful to making your gaming that much more smoother. We are also going to be re-comparing this to the Xbox One Elite, which I know I did quite a while ago, and that is a very highly viewed video on my channel. And yeah, it's time for a rematch. Let's get it. Alrighty guys, over here at the Stormtrooper desktop as always, we're going to crack into that box there and see what's good about the Wolverine Ultimate. Now, I have had a lot of experience with this controller. I've reviewed it at least once on the channel, and I have done comparison videos of it. Not to mention, I have personally owned one of these for about 6 months. Absolutely loved it. It is a great controller. I'm going to get that out of the way now. So first of all, starting with the packaging, Razer always has phenomenal packaging. You might be wondering, Kevin, why the hell do we give a shit about the box? Well, studying business and also being an entrepreneur, small business owner of 3 companies, I do understand that packaging does show a lot about the company's quality control, attention to detail, and basically their budget for the product itself. Not to mention, it comes down to how they're going to treat their customer when you say, hey, this thing's a piece of shit, I want my money back. And that's probably not going to happen with this product here. So you have this little reflective film right here, like a holographic Mewtwo card or something. Brings me back to my Pokemon days. This is for Xbox only and for Windows 10. Sorry, PlayStation guys. If you do have a PS4 Pro or PS4 Slim, you do want a Razer controller that has a lot of the features of these. The Razer Raiju is specifically for the PS4. I have also reviewed that on this channel. I'll have that linked in the description below. So, a lot of lime green labeling, obviously, as it is an Xbox controller. Flipping into it, welcome to the cult of Razer. They have very strong marketing there. You know, a lot of slogans, catchphrases, stuff like that. So the packaging, like I said, phenomenal. Laser cut foam in there, so your box is held in there nice and tight. We all love a tight box. Now, the carrying case, very nice. It's not that scratchy mesh material you get on a lot of other carrying cases, like the Microsoft Elite, for example. This is very smooth to the touch. It's almost like a suede material. I could rub this all day, but I'm going to choose not to because I'm on camera right now. You also have a blacked out Razer logo on there, the old 3-headed snake coming to get you. Blacked out rubber tab here. It's completely blacked out. Black zipper, black everything. So, ooh. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. There we go. Ooh, a little hiccup with the zipper there. It's going to lose points for that. Just kidding, it's not. So, down here you have a little detachable cable located here tab. You're going to go ahead and yoink up on the foreskin of the box, and that is going to pop out. And you get your instruction manual. You also get a little, what looks like a large hemp rolling paper. It's not. It's a thank you letter from Razer. Also congratulating you on getting their bomb-ass product. Then you have a very nice instruction manual. Color, basically the only color is lime green, again to go with that marketing theme of the lime green, but very informative, good font, English is the primary language, good quality instruction manual. Right here you have your cable. Damn, that box had a thud. Good thing I'm not in an apartment. My neighbors downstairs would be having a fucking conniption. So their cable is a 10-foot braided cable. It also has a disconnect, which is good in case, you know, a pet or a child or something trips over. It's not going to yoink out of your PC or your console. It just, you know, detaches right there. It's called a breakaway. That's specifically what that feature is for. I personally don't care too much about this because I've never had an issue where a breakaway would have been necessary for me, but really nice cables, high quality, braided. Have a little cover here to keep dust out of your USB 2.0 port. You also have a little rubber cord tie here, which is branded with Razer on it. Of course, why not? Also says Razer right there. So they make these cables in-house, just another little touch, attention to detail, another little, you know, little quality control touch. So opening up the case here, you have your controller. Very nice on the inside as well. You have a slot for your your 10-foot cable in there. You have 2 extra D-pads in here. You have a concaved, ooh, that's in there deep. You have a high concave stick here that has kind of like a trigger pattern on it. Then you also have a short or medium dome stick. And I gotta say, the rubber coating that they use on the dome stick feels really good, and I myself prefer dome sticks over concaved. The only thing better than both of those, in my opinion, is what's called a Pro Stick, which is what comes on a PS4 controller standard, and it's basically domed in the center and then has a lip, so it's almost like concave too. I don't necessarily like the material Sony uses, but I like the design of the Pro Stick. If you can get that with the rubber that Scuff uses or Razer uses, you have a perfect thumbstick in my opinion. So you also have a full wheel D-pad here, so if you don't want to use 4 individual D-pads, 4 individual arrows on your D-pad, you can get a wheel. What that is good for is fighting games when you're trying to roll on combos where you need to quickly change direction. That is exactly what that is for. Also, I do think it looks a little bit better, so we're going to put this on. So to get that off, you just get a fingernail up under there, pop it off like that. Very simple. And then doesn't really matter which way you snap it in because the module is in the bottom there, so you're good there. As for the thumbsticks, they are magnetized, they pop right off, so we are going to go ahead and put that dome stick on the left because it's short, so that'll be our running. As for our shooting, we want a higher stick, obviously. It gives you more leverage, so you get more control of your aiming. And, oh my god, I forgot how good this controller feels in the hand. I really did. So, it feels virtually identical in size to an Xbox One controller, which is great because ergonomically they fit me very well. But you have this great rubberized coating on the back, super grippy. Like, yep, that's good grip. You also have a little cutout here for your fingers to kind of cut in there. Paddles, very nice. We're going to go over those in detail in a little bit here, but ergonomically feel great. Build quality seems super solid. I'm kind of bending it right now. I don't hear any creaks or moans and groans. It feels really solid in the hand without being heavy. It's not necessarily a heavy controller, it just feels durable. Plastics feel solid. Good resistance on the analog thumbsticks. L3 and R3 feel good. All your menu and option buttons. The Xbox button feels good. D-pad has a nice satisfying click to it. Now this bar down here is for your audio controls, which is really cool. You can mute your mic. You can also adjust your headphone levels from 5 different levels of volume for the game sound by plugging in your 3.5mm headphone here at the bottom, which is really cool. You can also swap 2 onboard profiles on the fly, so if you have 2 people that use this controller, or you have a profile for a shooting game and one for racers or RPGs or whatever, you can quickly shift that on the fly. This also has a remap feature where you can remap the paddles on the fly without having to go into the Razer Synapse 3 app, which is really cool. Now, in my opinion, one of the best things about these Razer controllers, they are the only premium controller that I have tested that has this feature, and I have tested Scuff, AIM, Battle Beaver, Microsoft Elite 1 and 2, Nacon Revolution, C40 by Astro, I've also built custom controllers on this channel with paddles and whatnot. Pictures on screen here. So I have experience with controllers, a lot of experience building controllers, taking them apart, repairing them, reviewing them, of course playing with them. So yeah, I gotta say, this is the only controller I've ever experienced. Oh, there it is, yep. The face buttons are mechanical, so if you have a mechanical keyboard, or obviously a mouse, a gaming mouse, you'll understand immediately how satisfying that tactile click is. Only controller I know that has mechanical switches for the face buttons. It's great. It really is. Instead of having that membrane feeling where there's a rubber gasket under there that feels really squishy and spongy, these just have just the slightest effort to press, and then you get that nice satisfying click and a perfect rebound. It just, you really have to experience these in person to know what I'm talking about. They're also not very loud either, which is great. For being mechanical, they're very quiet. People over your microphone in your chat, or if you're streaming or something, they're not going to hear that in the background. It's very quiet, which is a big deal for being mechanical. So face buttons, I mean, that is probably one of my favorite features of Razer controllers. Bumpers up here, ergonomically, really nice. I also love that brushed aluminum design on there. I think it looks really classy and timeless design with that flat matte black, and then the silver, you know, aluminum, brushed aluminum, charcoal look up there. Really nice. So bumpers, solid. Triggers, nice resistance to them, nice linear pull. Very nice. They also have trigger locks here to engage them. Just pull them like that. And that, wow, yeah. So I'm kind of a stickler for trigger locks. I always say, you know, if you're going to have trigger locks that only cut out 20, 30% of the pull, why the fuck bother, right? So these ones cut out, I would say, about 65 to 70% of the pull. It's definitely more than half the pull eliminated by turning these on. So yeah, those are nice. You get a nice click, nice bounce back. Yeah, you'll be able to get some shots off real quick. Those are good trigger locks. They really are. And I just love the way the triggers feel in your hand. They look great. And then you have your, in addition to your paddles, you also have 2 additional buttons up here called M1 and M2. And these can be programmed as well. And guess what? Those are mechanical too. Now those are substantially louder than the face buttons. Yeah, those sound more like a traditional mouse click or mechanical keyboard. They're pretty noisy. So you might, if you're using these a lot, people might hear that over your microphone, or if your spouse is sleeping next to you in bed or something and you're playing late at night, that constant clicking might drive them insane. All right, so now for the paddles, you have M3, 4, 5, and 6, which are the remappable buttons here on the back. M1 and 2 are obviously these 2 additional bumpers here. Damn. Okay, so the paddles are not mechanical, they're just the traditional button switch in there. Very easy to actuate though, but you do have to put enough pressure forward to where you know, are purposely hitting them. You're not going to accidentally actuate them. And also, you can still grip the controller normally if you do not want to use paddles. You're just playing something like Crash Bandicoot or something. If you're playing a first-person shooter where you need paddles, they are there for you, and you can cover all 4 buttons with your fingers. That's a big complaint that I had with the Scuff Vantage 2, which I just reviewed recently. Link to that video in the description below. They are not the king of paddles anymore. They were the initial paddle company. They were the first one to put over 100 patents for premium controllers, including the materials they use, the paddle system, yeah, just a whole bunch of shit. But they are not the best paddles anymore, and that's their flagship controller right now, the Vantage 2, and nah, the paddles are trash. These feel durable, and like I said, if you don't need them there, they're out of the way. But if you do need them, you just push your fingers forward like that, and I can easily still have access to the triggers, the top bumpers, the regular bumpers, and all 4 of the paddles. So that is a super good design. I feel like they've done their R&D on this, and it works. It just works. All right, so we're going to plug this into the PC. I already have the drivers installed because, like I said, I've had this controller, not to mention I have other Razer products like my keyboard, my headphones. I do have a Razer mouse laying around here. So I already have the application that we need to work on this controller. Just Google that, or in the instruction manual, there's also a QR code if you scan that. But it's very easy. Razer Synapse 3, or just Razer software, or Razer drivers. It'll take you right where you need to be. Let's hop over to my PC real quick. So another quick point before I plug into the mandatory wired connection. This is not wireless. They have a really nice sunken in design here for the micro USB port, and it's also a proprietary cord, meaning it's specifically for this controller. So if you lose or break this, you need to buy another one. Sorry. You can't just use a micro USB you've got laying around, so take good care of this cable, as it is mandatory to play with this controller. But has a nice little channel or groove in there, and that lines up with that channel or that little peg that's inside there and slides it in perfectly, so you can't accidentally plug this in the wrong way. Alrighty guys, over here at the PC, as you can see, and unfortunately this is actually not ran through the Razer Synapse 3 application, which runs virtually all of the other Razer accessories and peripherals for the PC, which kind of sucks because you can't coordinate your lights through that, and not to mention that is a much better, prettier looking interface than this application here. I'm going to hide my face so you can see the whole screen here. Now this application here is called Razer Wolverine for Xbox. It's on the Microsoft store for the Windows 10 as well as on the Xbox. So it looks virtually identical on the Xbox, and unfortunately on the PC you cannot move around the mouse and click anything. You have to make all the selections with the controller itself. So it's a very controller and console specific interface. It's not much of a very friendly PC thing. So you can rename your controller here to John Boy Deluxe or White Knuckle Tomahawk or whatever badass name you want here. You have 2 different programmable slots that you can swap on the fly with that button right here. That's your remap on the fly. That's mute your mic, and this is to adjust 5 levels of volume on board here. So we're going to set up a new profile here. So I guess you can use the keyboard to type, but you can't use the mouse to click on anything. Call it John Boy. Alright, so we're going to edit John Boy here. I'm going to show you guys some of the features that you can adjust. So of course you can remap the buttons. I'm going to leave all this standard for now because we're going to change them on the fly. So from the controller itself, not the software. Lighting. So all reactive does, I'm looking at it right now, is whenever you're, here I'll bring my face back, whenever you press a button, the RGB lights up with the one static color. It's not like it changes multiple colors depending on what button you're pressing. That'd be really cool. It's not like that though at all. Wave looks something like this. Static is just one constant color. Spectrum cycling looks something like this. I don't know how well that actually shows up on camera, but I'm trying. Immersive is whenever your vibration motor kicks in, because you're shooting or you get hit or whatever, it vibrates and then a color pops on, one static color. And then breathing fades in and out with 2 colors, or 1 if you choose that, or you can have it be random colors. So we are just going to do spectrum cycling for now. Now focus and I want to say agility, but it's not. Focus and agile are 2 very unique features that only the Razer Wolverine Ultimate and Tournament controllers have, and it's specific to Razer. I don't know if they have a proprietary patent on it or what, but it is specific to their stuff. And what this does is focus decreases the sensitivity on your thumbsticks. This can be either the left thumbstick or the right thumbstick. So when you activate it, basically you're just getting very precise movement. So it wouldn't matter with running so much, but on the right stick, if you get a sniper rifle or something like that, where you need very precise input, so you need just a little bit of movement, not a bunch of flicking movement, you would hold down the focus button and it would give you a very precise little aim there. Now, Agile is the exact opposite. It increases the stick sensitivity, and this doesn't mean that when you're at full lock... Now, this doesn't mean that when you're at full lock and then you press Agile, it's going to make it even harder than that. That just means if you're aiming just slightly and then you press Agile, it'll simulate as if you're full lock. So I don't really understand the purpose of Agile. I don't really think it has much of a purpose. I do think Focus is cool for sniping. I don't think Agile does anything because it's not like you can go full lock and then hit the button and get even more sensitivity out of it. It's just like, no, that's your sensitivity, but instead of having to pull it this much, you basically hold down the button and hold it that much and it'll pretend that it's going that far. I'm probably not being very articulate right now, but I'm trying. And then of course you can adjust the impulse triggers in the you can adjust the vibration motors in the triggers and the rumble force motors in the palms. You cannot do these individually like left and right. I know you can do that in the Xbox One controllers. But it's just, you know, the triggers and the palms. Alrighty, boys, so over here playing Rise of the Tomb Raider. I have no idea where I am right now. I'm just kind of running around aimlessly staring at Laura's Tuchus. Oh, jeez. Oh, she's all wet now. God damn. Alrighty, guys, so after playing with the Wolverine Ultimate here on the Xbox One X downstairs, as well as my gaming PC here, played a little Apex, a little Fortnite, a little Rise of the Tomb Raider, a little Halo 4 or 5, whatever the latest one is that's currently out. Not Infinite. Anyway, yeah, I gotta say, the paddle design is absolutely fantastic, completely up and out of the way when you don't want to use them, which is great because they are not removable like some of the other controllers that are magnetized where you can just pop them off. They are permanently hardwired in there. Which is totally fine because they're up and out of the way. However, when you do need them, they're all in a really good position. I also love having these 2 additional buttons on top because technically, in essence, you have 6 programmable buttons, not 4, which is really cool. Like the Vantage 2 has what's called the sax buttons that are on the side here that you kind of straighten out your finger and the pad of your index finger bumps them. But honestly, I think this is a better design because it's up and out of the way. And it's a really interesting spot because you have your triggers here, you never accidentally hit these. You have your bumpers here, never accidentally hit them. But then you go down just, you know, a half a skosh, and you have these buttons here. I thought that was really cool. If you want, you know, map to like one of the D-pad buttons to do whatever. The mechanical face buttons are absolutely insane. They're quiet. They have a nice clicky, satisfying feel. I wish that more premium controller companies would utilize them because they're fucking awesome. Thumbsticks feel really good, honestly. Great weight to them. There's also anti-friction rings in there, so when you're at full lock, it just glides along instead of kind of having that rough, scratchy feeling because it's plastic against plastic. This is actually aluminum against like a slicker plastic ring, so it just glides along real smooth. D-pad felt really good. Didn't do any fighting game work with it, but I'm sure the D-pad would work great for those roll-on combos and whatnot. I did have headset connected through there, and sure enough, I was able to mute my microphone on the fly, adjust the volume from 5 different levels. So you just go in your Xbox and turn the headset volume to 100, and then you can control it from here, from, you know, 20%, 40, 60, and up. Being able to remap on the fly is absolutely awesome. It's super easy too. So obviously I'm plugged into the PC right now, so it's not, I guess it might allow me to do it. So you just press down this button here, and now there's a green light that's illuminated right there. And then you're going to press one of the paddles or one of these top buttons. We'll do this one right here. And then you're going to press whatever face button you want to map to. And whenever it is properly set, you'll get a nice tactile vibration, a nice haptic feedback kind of thing where it gives a nice little zzz, quick little zap to your fingers, a little vibration letting you know you successfully mapped one of your buttons. Now, I think what a lot of people do is have the paddles set to the face buttons and then these 2 additional buttons on top set to utilize Razer's focus and agile features. I don't think agile really does much besides speed up your movement. I do think focus is great because it slows you down, so you can just hold down this, and you know you can technically hit the left trigger and that button at the same time. So you'd be aiming down the sights and holding that for focus, and then you know using your right stick and your trigger to take those clean shots with the sniper rifle. So that's really cool. I think that's an interesting feature. I think the RGB is cool. It can be turned off, so if it becomes disorienting in a dark room or at night, it just takes away from your attention of the screen. You can turn it off, but I think it's a cool little feature. Ergonomically, absolutely perfect. I mean, 10 out of 10. Durability, 10 out of 10. I've heard no quality control issues from Razer, which is surprising because all the other controller companies, Scuff, Microsoft Elite, AIM, Battle Beavers had a couple complaints, but the main offenders here are Microsoft Elite 1 and 2. They have terrible stick drift, bumpers breaking, and face buttons jamming up. It's very common, and until that gets fixed, I wouldn't recommend buying one of those controllers, which sucks because the Elite 2, at its core, is a great controller. I think this is a solid option. If you need 4 paddles and you want this onboard capability of adjusting your mic, and you like the RGB, and you like the focus and the agile features, and you like the customizable D-pad and thumbsticks, this is the way to go. If you don't need those features, minus the agile and the focus, then I would say get the Wolverine Tournament. It only has 2 paddles on the back, not 4. You don't have RGB, you don't have this brick down here, you're stuck with the onboard sticks that come with it. But it's still the same mechanical switches. You do have focus and shift. You have these 2 buttons up here and 2 paddles in the back. And, you know, it's about $40 cheaper. So if you only need 2 paddles, that's a good way to go. And keep in mind you do have the top buttons too. So, yeah. All in all, really solid controller though. I definitely recommend this controller. I'm a big fan of Razer products. I wouldn't go as far to call myself a fanboy, but I do like Razer products. I think for the price that they charge, they deliver really good, long-lasting products and also very useful, innovative products. For example, innovative, yeah. This is the only controller I've ever used that has mechanical switches, RGB, which I know doesn't affect your gameplay. It just looks fucking cool. Extra buttons on top, great paddle design. This is a very unique to Razer paddle design. You'll not find this exact setup on any other controller. All in all, a good controller. It is wired, so you know that might be a deal breaker for some if you're really far away from your TV in the living room or whatever. If you're playing on PC, it really doesn't matter because you're like right up on it on your monitor. But if if you're sitting back in bed or on a couch in a living room, a wire might be kind of an issue, but it is a 10-footer, really long, so should be good. And you can always get an extender too on top of that if you need to be even further away from your TV. So pretty sweet. If they did release a wireless version of this, you know, that still had wired capability, I think that would be really cool, but it would be about another $50 to $60 to add that wireless capability, but it'd be nice. And yeah, that's going to do it, guys. See you in the next one. Peace.